This is Seattle Real Estate Radio with your hosts, Christian Nossum and Dan Keller. For the next hour, you'll learn impactful insider information as Christian and Dan teach about the ins and outs of Seattle's real estate market. Now, here's Christian and Dan.
Hello and welcome to Seattle Real Estate Radio, KKOL 1300 Business Radio. I'm Dan Keller, Seattle Mortgage Advisor.
And I am Christian Nossum with Wilson Realty Exchange, also known as Awesome Nossum.
Awesome Nossum.
Yes. So, hey everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. On today's show, we are going to get some updates on the Seattle real estate market. We're going to talk about the mortgage market, which Dan just came back from a pretty cool conference. And we're going to talk with the owner of Path Insurance, Tyler Kerlee, who is an insurance expert. So all that stuff's coming on. The second segment's when Tyler's going to come on. But this first segment, I just want to talk to you, Dan, because you just came back from how long? How long were you down there?
No, we're down in Palm Desert for 3 days. But before I talk about that, brother, we just finished our first radio show last week.
Yes, we did. And we had an awesome response. Thank you, everyone that watched on the podcast, or watched the not the podcast, listened to the podcast.
Yeah.
Watched the YouTube show. We got some good comments.
Yeah.
And everybody that kind of listened on the radio live. We're on iHeartRadio or TuneIn, or, we're all over the place.
Yeah. I was curious to see the response we were going to get on social media.
Yeah.
And flattered.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, it was.
Your wife said some nice things about you, for once.
For once?
So anyways, I really wanted to get in because I'm proud of you.
Yeah.
You just got back from a pretty cool gig down in Palm Desert.
Yep.
And why don't you tell them about it? Where'd you go? What'd you do? And how long were you there?
Yeah, it was pretty. It's surreal for me because when I got in the mortgage industry in 2008.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, I can say that I was not a part of the collapse.
Yeah.
I wasn't a part of that mess. But when I got into the industry,
never wrote any of those
negative AM
loans that
stated income. Mm-hmm. No, I don't even know
how
I know
that
it
worked.
Yeah, don't even know.
It was pretty easy. I'll tell you. You did this.
Yeah.
Oh, that's everything true. Basically, what I did, listeners, is I signed a piece of paper.
So what Christian's saying is he has some experience in that market.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, so when I got in the mortgage industry in 2008, I wanted to come in educated. I wanted to come in. I went, I studied, I prepared from an educational standpoint. But part of that was understanding the sales aspect of the mortgage industry.
Okay.
How to do it the right way. Mm-hmm. And there was a guy that I met.
Without being pushy?
Without being pushy, without being annoying, without being sleazy, without doing it the right way. And I've got a master's degree in education, and I sought out to be a professor. That was my goal. Mm-hmm. And so when I got into this industry, I wanted to teach. I wanted to educate, but I also wanted to be in control of, my business instead of working at an institution. And so hence I got in the mortgage industry, and I got connected to a guy by the name of Todd Duncan. He's a 5-time New York Times bestseller on sales and leadership. He's a veteran of the mortgage industry. He did it right. Mm-hmm. And for 22 years now, he has held the premier mortgage conference in California called
It's only a premier.
It's premier.
Is it only premier in California,
though? No. Nationwide. Nationwide.
It's a premier conference.
It's premier. You're going to have to pay a pretty penny to get in. Mm-hmm. And the barrier of entry is, fairly high to get in, as well as where it's hosted at the JW Marriott in Palm Desert. Wow. But long story short, I was asked.
Fancy.
Yeah, big time. I was asked to speak.
Nice.
Yeah.
Were you one of the featured speakers?
One of the speakers, yeah. So I spoke on Friday morning, and kind of talked how basically what we're doing, Christian, how I'm using video and how I'm using social media. And I didn't talk about radio, but mediums like this to get our message out and to get the message out to the consumer on how to do this right, how to apply for a mortgage right, how to make sure you're budgeting right, and how to win when you do purchase real estate. So, super great opportunity, and it was an honor. And I'm back. I got a little tan.
Yeah. Did you get a little red too before you got tan, or do you normally tan, or
I'm
are you
light
like me?
skinned, so I get red,
Yeah,
and then I tan.
that's like me.
My wife makes fun of me.
I'm
She
like
you got the sun-
transparent. I'm so pasty white.
Red.
But yes,
That's it.
Yep, that's how it works. So, well, I'm proud of you, man, because that's a big deal.
Yeah.
And you've spoken down there before, right, or no?
Yeah, I don't know what they were thinking last year. I didn't get invited to speak last year, but I spoke the year before.
Oh,
so
wow.
I spoke in 2013.
Well, you're just like the San Francisco Giants, and you only go every other year, just like them. They only win the World Series every other year. So
that's it. I'll take it.
Why. Yeah,
I'll take it.
Yeah.
But no, it's good to be back. But it was certainly it was an honor, and this is what we do. We one of his books that changed my life was called High Trust Selling, and I lived that book.
Yeah,
so,
you were telling me about that. I mean, what kind of things would I, as a non-mortgage professional, get out of that? Or is it even based on
it's
mortgage,
basically
or?
The bottom line is I'm not going to give you advice or sell you a product I wouldn't sell myself or my mom.
Well, that's
at the end of the day.
That's basically my mantra anyway.
That's it. Hence the book, High Trust Selling. So
interesting. So, well, that sounds cool. Well, I'm proud of you, man. That was fun.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Do you like traveling much or no?
I don't. We don't travel a ton.
No?
Work hard, play hard. We travel locally. The
Yeah.
Chelands, the Suncadias, the Semiamus, which we'll talk about that in the future. That's where I had my 40th. But,
that was a lot of fun. We
a
talked
lot
about
of
that
fun.
last week a little bit, but Semiamu, man, they took care of you.
Yeah, and it's beautiful up there.
Yeah, it is gorgeous, and it's fun. You can throw a rock across the Canadian border from the beach because it's that close.
You could swim to the buoys that separate Washington from Canada.
Yeah.
So how about you? You travel?
Yeah, we like to do kind of stuff like that. We actually just booked a trip to Disneyland and actually to Palm Desert as well.
When are you going to Disneyland?
We're going to do that in the middle of December.
No.
Yeah.
So are we.
Are you really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we might have to hook up down there. We might have to broadcast down there.
We'll do a live show down there.
We may have to do
find
that.
a studio
from
somehow.
Main Street.
From Main Street. That's a great idea.
Splash Mountain.
Yeah, there you go. Going down. So, Dan, what do you think about? Yeah, anyways. So one cool thing is my cousin's girlfriend. She just won a trip around the world for a year.
Holy cow!
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So we just had them over for dinner last night because she's heading out, and they've been together a few years. And I don't know why they're not married, but they're not. So, but yeah, she's going for like a freaking year
around the world.
Around the world.
Sailing.
Flying,
everything.
Flying, taking trains, buses, all sorts of stuff. Yeah, and she's not allowed to do anything other than observe.
Wow.
She can't sell anything. She can't work.
Wow.
It's crazy.
I'd like to see that itinerary.
I know.
That'd
Yeah,
be
she was
cool.
kind of telling us about it, and it was pretty insane. It was like back and forth all over the place, and
So I got to ask you this. The salmon. Took you out fishing week before last.
Yeah.
Did you eat it?
Oh, yeah.
Was it
That's what I served last night.
Was it?
That's what we served for my cousin.
Love it.
Yeah, and it was good. It was fresh. It was good.
Well, there's nothing better than Puget Sound salmon, especially coho.
Yes.
And some crab, which a lot of season for that.
Yeah,
But, hey, winter crabbing opened up earlier this month, so we might have to go try that next time.
Oh, we need to. Well, we kind of told you that my daughter, Avalie, 4 years old, she, after we left fishing, she said that next time we go, we have to get crab because she's obsessed with crab. She loves eating crab. Crab and bacon, those are her two favorite things.
That's not a bad diet.
I know. Well, it kind of is a bad diet, but not a bad favorite thing.
Yeah.
But at 4 years old, that's her palate.
Yeah.
That's pretty advanced, I'd say, for a 4-year-old.
That's pretty good. Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty. Well, crab. Jeez, might get pricey, buddy. If you lose touch with me,
I lose you and the free crab.
That's my anchor. I'm gonna keep awesome Nossum around because I'm his medium
my
for
crab dealer.
That's it. So hey, I wanted to kind of chat with you about this on air because I think it's important. We've got a transaction that we just wrapped up, and everything seemed to go extremely well. But just a rare. It was near a lake. And it showed up in a floodplain.
Oh,
and we had to battle that, and evidently we got to the bottom of it, and FEMA and everybody agreed that it really wasn't, but it was. But she just had to do this and get it removed. And
yeah, that was funky.
It was a
But
mess.
that's the stuff that you got to deal with in this industry.
Yeah.
It's not easy
No.
doing this job. because random things like that pop up, and
very,
you just
very well qualified borrower. Everything was smooth, and then we get the we get the flood cert back, and I'm like, all of us were in awe. Mm-hmm. Even the neighbors knew. They were, hey, we're in a 100-year floodplain, but no, it's but you're not.
We're above the low points in the lake, so why would we be in a floodplain? If it floods, it's going over the banks, and we're going to be fine before it ever reaches our house.
Exactly. Well, hence this is going to kind of transition into our show today. We've got an insurance expert on the show, and
that's a good point.
I'm really excited to maybe bounce that off of him here in a few minutes.
Mm-hmm. No, that's a really good point. Yeah, and I'm glad that he's going to be on because I need to learn a little bit more about that stuff.
Well, I've had a chance to know Tyler for going on a couple of years now, and I personally use him. Mm-hmm. I try to recommend. From a service level standpoint, I try to get all my clients to use him just because he's so smooth and he's so quick. And very few insurance professionals take the approach we do, Christian, and that's educating. Most insurance professionals, along with most lenders, are focused on the lowest rate and the terms, and then you're in and you're out. And he takes a little different approach, but I'm excited to have him on today.
Yeah, I mean, I need to honestly learn a lot more about that. That's one thing that I don't know a lot about.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that he's on because I know I'm going to learn stuff. I'm going to ask some newbie questions so that others that are in a similar boat to me, they can get educated. And I also want to know some of the red flags to look for in an insurance policy and things like that too, potentially. So we're going to have some good questions.
It's funny how I met Tyler. My wife is very thrifty and just super savvy, brilliant lady. And
you'll get brownie points later.
Yeah,
don't worry.
Hopefully if she listens. But she's always done esurance or an E company. And how we met Tyler is I met him through business and had him look at our numbers. And he's not an e-broker. Yeah. He's not an online broker, and he was able to give us better coverage and lower our premiums.
Wow.
So it's sometimes you might be surprised. So I'm excited to talk with Tyler today.
Well, it's similar to your business where people think they can get a better deal on a mortgage by going online using Quicken Loans or Zillow Marketplace or whatever, and that is generally not the case at all. I mean, the service that you're going to get is usually crap, honestly. And it's pretty similar. So after the break, we're going to check in with Seattle housing market, or on the Seattle housing market, and also hear from today's guest insurance expert, Tyler Kerlee of Path Insurance. So stay tuned. Seattle Real Estate Radio will be right back here on KKOL 1300 AM.
You're listening to Seattle Real Estate Radio with your hosts, Christian Nossum and Dan Keller. We'll be right back. We're back with Seattle Real Estate Radio with your hosts, Christian Nossum and Dan Keller.
All right, so welcome back. This is Dan Keller with Seattle Real Estate Radio on KKOL 1300. It is now time for Christian's weekly Seattle Housing Market Minute. Tell us what you know, man.
Yes, I love this segment. So I want to talk about a cool new app that I just ran across, and it's called Seattle in Progress. It's actually, they have a great mobile site as well. They also have an app, but the mobile site's sweet. SeattleInProgress.com. I'm not getting paid or anything to pump them up. I just thought it was cool. So, like when you're driving through a neighborhood and you see one of those big signs or one of the little yellow ones that say land use action, proposed land use action, usually, even if you read the sign, you're like, what the heck am I looking at? I don't know what this says. It doesn't say anything, really. So what this app does and what this website does is it maps out every single construction site or where they've put in for permits on the site, and you can click on it, see what they're planning to build. Wow. It's cool. Yeah. It's sweet. And then you can see like their timeline and stuff like that sometimes too. So it's pretty cool. So I can put that in my little tool belt. Mm-hmm. So many of the tech clients that we use, or that use us that we have as clients. There you go. That's how you say that sentence, Christian. Good job.
Figure it out, Nossum.
Come on now. So many of them are looking for new construction. Yeah. So this is kind of a way for me to assist them in okay, you want to buy in a year and a half. You're not ready to buy it yet, but you want to buy in a year when your lease ends up in South Lake Union and you're sick of paying $2,200 for a studio. That's when you can use this app, and I can use that to help them out. So
that's a good update. That's a great app. I always like to be in the know. If there's a new app out that'll make my job easier or make our clients the process for our clients easier. Yeah, great stuff, man. Well, appreciate the update.
Yeah. So next up, this segment's going to be sponsored by Path Insurance Solutions, and today we are chatting with Tyler Kerlee, the owner of Path Insurance Solutions, and they're based out of Bellevue here. He's been in the insurance business for over 11 years, and Path Insurance Solutions is actually a brokerage. So they do the shopping for their clients to ensure that their clients get the best coverage and price. They shop, you save.
Well, this is kind of an honor to have you here, Tyler. Like I mentioned earlier in the intro, that Tyler's my insurance agent, and when I approached him about our show, it was a no-brainer. Tyler's the insurance pro.
Well, thanks for having me, guys. It's a privilege.
Yeah. I'm glad you're here.
Well, so I know with every single client that comes on board and fills out a mortgage application with me, I ask them what are their plans for homeowners insurance, and I always just ask them to have a 5-minute conversation with you initially. And because I know you take the same approach as Christian and I do in regards to educating our clients and me making sure that every homeowner's insurance policy is not the same, just like every mortgage pre-approval is not the same. And so, in having you on today, I think my goal is to kind of do a brain dump from some of the things that you've taught me over the last 2 years to hand off to my clients as I encourage them to go meet with you. So really appreciate you coming on board.
Well, thanks for having me. Love to share, my insights on the insurance industry. A lot of people think they know how, auto or home insurance works, but a simple question I like to ask my clients is, do you know how your policy works? And more often than not, they're like, I have a general idea, but no, I don't really know. How about you tell me?
Well, it's the same thing in our business, in my business. Hey, what's your rate? What are your rates? And they're shopping me with 5 other lenders.
Or they're talking to me about selling their house, and they're like, well, what do you charge to sell my house? And,
my response to a question like that are, what are your short-term and long-term financial goals? Let's get to what's really most important. Is the lowest rate the most important? It's important, but it's not the most important thing. That's what I love about you, Tyler.
Yeah, a lot of people, especially people that get transferred in, whether they're coming in for Amazon or Microsoft, they're coming from another country, so they don't really know how insurance works in the United States.
Yeah, that's true.
And so if they go to, an online website to get a quote, they're going to just select the lowest level of coverage because they see the price that spits out at the end.
Yeah, exactly.
And, a lot of times they don't understand the repercussions for having low levels of insurance. In the state of Washington, if you're driving your car and you hit someone and you have $25,000 of liability coverage, that essentially pays for the people you hit to go to the hospital in an ambulance. And that's it.
That's about all
Once
you
they get through the hospital doors,
Yeah.
then there's no more coverage.
Yeah.
Well, if you're 30 years old and you're making $150,000 at Amazon or Microsoft, they you can have your wages garnished at 25% until you're 65. That's a big number.
That's a huge number.
So,
Wow.
it's not all about price. Sometimes, and a lot of times what we can do is we can combine coverage to get the price they want to have. Because a lot of the companies I work with, you may not have heard of them, but they don't spend money on marketing. They count on me to do the marketing for them. So, their overall cost is a lot lower than, say, the Geicos or the Progressives of the world, because the Geicos and Progressives spend billions of dollars on an annual basis, which goes into the cost of insurance.
Well,
that's just an eye
race
opener.
car that they got and all the
Yeah.
stupid.
That Geico animation, that's a lot of money right there.
That lizard's not cheap.
No,
Whatever
he probably gets paid more than any actor.
Well,
would be.
that just, and then you mentioned a 30-year-old. When you go through different phases in your life, I know the amount of money that I was making at 30 is much different than what I'm making at 40. So your risk factors change as you age. So, I think those are things that, much like I do with my clients, I do an annual mortgage review to see, how is your How are you looking in regards to debt management? How are you looking in regards to your financial goals, your equity? In your case, with insurance, do you do annual reviews with your clients as well?
I talk with my clients probably 4 or 5 times a year. Just to, when they buy a car, we'll cover what's going on with their life, if they've made any updates to their house, because that could increase the value of their house, whether they did a kitchen remodel or whatnot.
Yeah.
So I'm in communication a lot with my clients. It's text messages, Google chats, emails, phone calls, any form of communication. I try to
Snapchat.
I try to really use, for these savvy communicators nowadays.
Whatever you got to do.
Yeah.
Well, I know for a fact that we're very pleased. I know for a fact that my clients really appreciate you. So, so I want our listeners, most of them listening, have some form of insurance, I'm sure. I'm hoping you do.
Oh, yeah.
Tell us about the process for obtaining insurance, about your process for walking people through getting insurance.
It's actually it's fairly easy to do. I can't, I'm not going to say I can do it in 7 minutes or less like some of these other companies, but really it just involves a conversation and then maybe 10 to 15-minute conversation about what their current residence is, what their driving history is and their cars. It's hard to insure just one aspect of someone's life and do it correctly. So, can I insure your house by itself? Yes. But can I do that correctly unless I have the whole package to look at and know really what your risk is? No, I can't really do my job unless I take a look at the whole picture. And so in order to do that, we'll need to talk about your home insurance, your auto insurance, if you have any toys like a jet ski, a snowmobile, a boat. Maybe you're a small business owner. We'll need to talk about that as well, because those sort of all tie into one another depending on how your small business is set up, whether it's a sole proprietorship or an LLC. And so it's important to see the whole picture from my perspective so I can do my job right. And if someone is just, getting their insurance at one spot for their home and their auto insurance in another place, you're almost doing yourself a disservice, because to not have that whole picture is you're not doing your job right if you're not getting all the information.
Yeah, and then you can also probably advise them if they need to get an umbrella policy or something like that. Which,
well, if you're taking if there's a client that has a few rentals, maybe the liability limits on those rentals are low, but maybe it's a fourplex that they're insuring and they only have $300,000 liability. Well, that's not very much coverage for 4 families that you're essentially protecting inside this house. If something goes wrong, like a fire, $300,000 isn't very much coverage.
Yeah, like
so if I only saw their home policy and their auto policies and didn't take a look at the rental, then I'm doing them a disservice, because I can't actually give them advice on what they need to do to protect that fourplex. So.
Interesting.
And that's the big difference we're in similar type situations in our industries, where advice and being able to talk to somebody that's willing and able to give that advice. You're not a rep on the phone or behind a computer in a call center managing an inquiry. You're actually a human being, a professional, an educated professional that's able to give solid advice and look at their whole entire portfolio.
Yeah.
Cool. I love it, man. Okay, so I don't want to get focused on discounts and lowest rates and all of that, but is there a discount, kind of piggybacking on what you were saying, is there a discount for combining home, auto, boat, rentals?
Most companies, now I'm a broker, so I work with a large number of companies. Most companies have some form of discount for combining your auto and home. So if you come to me, I'll probably package your auto and home with a particular company.
Okay.
And that varies depending on your age, if you have children, what your insurance score is, which is essentially sort of like a credit score. And so depending on those factors, it'll depend on what company I put you with. But oftentimes it's probably 20 to 30% discount by adding your auto and home.
Got it.
That's
wow.
a big discount, actually.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, or multiple properties.
Yeah, for example, I just got referred a client it's for home purchase here coming up. They're married, but they had separate Progressive auto policies. And then they were getting a home quote from, I don't know, a random company. Anyways, I talked with them. They're paying $3,200 a year for their auto insurance.
Wow.
I increased their auto coverage to what it should be.
Yeah.
And I saved them $2,200 a year.
Wow.
So now they're going to pay $1,000 a year. So by combining the two cars.
And they probably thought they were being pretty smart about doing it online. And
it's one of those things that's out of sight, out of mind. It's automatically coming out of your account. You think you have a good deal. And then when you actually take a look at it, combining the autos together, combining the home, yes, it can be a very large savings. Now, that's probably an outlier on the amount of savings I get. But, there can be a lot of savings if we look at combining everything.
Let me ask you a question in 40 seconds or less. Is the extended replacement cost conversation, do we need more time? Should we come back to that?
We should probably have a little bit more time.
What do you think? Let's come back to that one. There's 2 or 3 things that we really want to hit. So let's come back to that.
All right. So after the break, we got to take a quick break real quick. We're going to be back with Tyler for a lot more questions. We're also going to have Dan's Mortgage Minute. So stay tuned.
Seattle Real Estate Radio with your hosts Christian Nossum and Dan Keller continues after this. Time for more Seattle Real Estate Radio with your hosts Christian Nossum and Dan Keller.
Welcome back. This is Seattle Real Estate Radio on KKOL 1300. And now, real quick, before we get back with Tyler, we're going to have Dan's Weekly Mortgage Minute. So tell us what's happening, Dan. What's going on?
Yeah, so we're about 2 weeks into these new loan estimate and closing disclosure guidelines that have really raised a lot of, they've raised a lot of attention in our industries, both of us. They're trying to, the CFPB, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, has tried to come in, and it's designed to protect the consumer, but they've, again, changed things up. So what they're doing is the old good faith estimate and truth in lending disclosures, they've gotten rid of those. They have actually combined them into a form now called the loan estimate.
Okay.
I like it. I think it's the old good faith estimate was about 4 or 5 pages. It was super confusing. It was in paragraph form.
No one got it.
Nobody
anyway.
got it, and it just
as
confused.
much as we tried to educate people on it, it was not easy to understand.
And most consumers think that a good faith estimate is the fee worksheet. Yeah. That's a fee worksheet. You can put whatever you want on that. Most lenders do. So the good faith estimate are the loan terms that you designated for that particular client on that particular home. And so we've got the loan estimate. And then we've got the closing disclosures now. Okay. And we're over 2 weeks into it. And you know what? The sky didn't fall. It's all good.
Like everyone was predicting.
Everyone thought it would. The biggest myth is it's going to take 60 to 80 days to close a transaction. And I do think it is at certain institutions. The larger, bigger banks and credit unions are going to have and are having a big issue with this.
Got it.
So really,
how do you get away with
local support, local businesses, local lenders like myself and New American Funding. Yeah, and I do want to disclose this. I need to disclose this. My mortgage loan originator ID. Anytime I talk about mortgages specifically, I need to address that. So I am Dan Keller, mortgage advisor at New American Funding, and my mortgage loan originator ID number is 115349. It's supposed to be that guy that speaks really fast at the end of commercials. Yeah. But anyways, so that's kind of it. Hey, it's moving along nicely. Okay. And I think it's better for the industry. It's more informative. It's simplified everything, and that's kind of where we're at.
So overall, from my point of view, if I'm representing a seller and they have a buyer that is trying to use a Chase Bank or a Bank of America or Wells Fargo or Merrill Lynch or whatever, if they're trying to use them for their loan, and they're thinking they can close in 30 days.
No dice. No chance. Not going to happen. Sellers, beware. Okay. This is my message to all my real estate agents and the real estate agent community. Yeah. If you're an agent and you're listening to this, you need to be in touch with your buyer. If you're listing a home, you need to be in touch with the agent representing the buyer and their lender. You just had some new forms in your industry, 22A, where you can actually ask for financing updates and information on their loan. Do that. Make sure you know that, and that will play into how you accept offers, I believe, as well.
Yeah, I think so, too. Yeah. I mean, that's definitely what I'm going to be educating my sellers on. So thank you, Dan. I appreciate that Mortgage Minute. We should have a little button that goes Mortgage Minute.
I know. We'll figure that out.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Sooner than later.
Anyway, so we are back with Tyler Kerlee of Path Insurance, and we're picking Tyler's brain on homeowners insurance today, as well as some other things. So before we went to the break, Dan wanted to ask a question about extended replacement costs. Mm-hmm. So we didn't have enough time because we were getting up to the break, but why don't you explain kind of what that is, Tyler?
Extended replacement cost is essentially if you're looking at your declaration page, which is the page of your insurance document that tells you what your coverage is.
Okay.
So let's use nice round numbers. Say the dwelling coverage on your home is $200,000. Extended replacement cost increases that number by whatever the factor is. And so most companies, your captive companies, the State Farms and the Allstates and the Farmers, their extended replacement cost is 125%. So you take the $200,000 at 125% replacement, you have $250,000 of coverage.
Okay.
For my particular companies, I have companies that have 200% replacement cost. I have companies that have 150% replacement cost. And then I have companies that have guaranteed replacement costs, meaning if your house burns down, we're guarantee it gets built back the way it was before it burnt down.
Wow.
So, and then there's other companies out there, the cheaper ones that you could run into online that may not have extended replacement costs.
So wait a minute. My house burns down, and I have 125% replacement cost. I've got a good, I think, I'm just using it as an example. I think I've got good homeowners insurance. My house burns down, and I go to rebuild it, and I can't for what I'm currently living in. Well, explain that to me.
If your current insurance agent, which would be me, I wouldn't make that mistake. But maybe you have someone else. Didn't insure your home adequately. Maybe we had a lot of forest fires this year and wood prices went up.
Got it.
So now it costs more to build because of wood prices. It's essentially the replacement cost is a cushion to help you rebuild your house. But if someone is trying to sell on price and they're trying to win your business, they're going to lower the dwelling value of your house to get the premium down because that's what the premium is based off of.
Yeah.
And so oftentimes insureds can end up with an underinsured house because of competition.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that does happen in the industry. I don't do that personally because I don't need to.
Sure you don't, buddy. Sure you
don't. No, the really cool thing, and I'm going to give you a little, I got to tip my cap to Tyler right here because I try to send everybody over. Not everybody goes through Tyler. And, and I think Tyler's okay with that because they don't want to play, not necessarily by your rules, but you don't get in that price game. You don't get to that game where it's all about price. You give them your advice, you give them the cost for it, and gosh, man, I'd hate to have a client come back to me and something tragic happen, and they be well underinsured. That would be horrible.
Because they were trying to get a deal. In the end, they kind of got screwed.
Typically what I'll do is just to give them their warm and fuzzy is I'll do an apples to apples quote to show them, hey, this is what you currently have for insurance coverage. This is how much you're paying with this other company. This is how much you would pay with me. Typically, I'm cheaper, which is nice.
Yeah, no, that's nice.
And then I'll do a suggested coverage, which is the coverage I think they should have. And I'm pretty successful at explaining why it is they need to have this coverage and then get them to understand and make a good buying decision. And most oftentimes they'll go with the suggested coverage.
So in a policy, do the service lines coming from the road to the house, are they kind of covered in a homeowner policy?
There's only one insurance company that I know of that sells homeowners insurance in Washington that provides coverage for that. So your typical homeowners policy, let's just use the sewer and water lines that come from the road to the house.
Yeah.
There's no coverage while it's in your lawn. Essentially, how the insurance policy reads for those policies is once it gets within the foundation walls, then you have coverage for the water, the sewer lines, the electrical.
So it's not necessarily the property boundaries.
Yes.
It's the actual structure.
It's the foundation walls of your house. That's what triggers coverage. I have a company that will provide coverage for that. The most typical claim you'll see in Washington is like a backup sewer drain that breaks in your lawn or a water pipe that bursts in your lawn maybe because of a windstorm and a tree fell over.
Yeah.
There's typically no coverage for that on a typical homeowner's policy for one of my companies, I can add an endorsement that will provide coverage for that. So that's, and I like to sell that policy a lot because it does happen, especially on older homes that are further away from the road.
So an ideal client, let's talk about an ideal client for that policy. Somebody that maybe has an elaborate front yard, maybe off the road. So if something did happen, you're talking about backhoe, you're talking about a lot of work between the house and the road. Maybe they've got a nice roundabout and really fancy landscaping that if something like that were to happen, it could cause a lot of damage financially. Is that the ideal client for that policy?
If you're thinking about home ages, if homes that were built before 1990, a lot of those had bigger lots.
Yep.
Now we're 25 years into that house being built. Those things underground get old.
Sure.
Yeah. Well, they get old everywhere.
I mean, it can happen. It's one of those circumstances where you don't want to have to come out of pocket.
Yep.
Typically, the average claim amount is somewhere around $10,000 for a water pipe burst in your lawn. I don't know a lot of clients that want to spend $10,000 on that when they can endorse it on a policy for maybe $40 a year.
Yeah, that's crazy. Well, on that kind of note, are there some things that people should have in mind when they're looking to buy a house or a rental property? Like, are there certain things that can't be covered or are super costly to cover?
I would say that if you're buying a new house, typically you're going to buy a house that most houses will have a new roof.
Yeah.
They'll have fresh paint. You'll want to stay away from houses that haven't had electrical updates or plumbing updates. So if it has knob and tube, that's going to be really hard to insure.
Yeah. How many companies do you think actually do that, and how much is that? Does that increase the?
I have one or two companies that'll do it, and it increases the premium by 4 or 5 times.
Wow. Yeah, because in Seattle here, there's a lot of homes that have knob and tube still. I mean, especially
if the knob and tube is disconnected and it's just in there, we're good.
Yeah, that's a different story.
But if it's actually active knob and tube, that's a fire hazard. It's going to happen. Yeah. So, if you're looking at 2 similar houses, you like them both equally. Stay away from the one with knob and tube.
Sure. Yeah, it's that easy.
No. So what are a couple of other things? We've got a couple of minutes left. What are a couple of other things that cause either insurance premiums to increase or they're tougher to insure? I know maybe an animal, like a dog, a certain type of a dog.
Dogs are a problem. That's sort of a commonly known thing. No one likes pit bulls. German Shepherds. There's a long list. There's about 13.
No one meaning the insurance agent.
Yeah, no insurance company likes that.
You're going to piss off a lot of our readers right now.
Be careful.
I like them.
Yeah.
Insurance companies, the underwriters.
Yeah, the underwriters don't like them.
Yeah, they don't like them.
Okay. What about a fire hydrant or a fire station that's located too far away or something like that? Is that relevant anymore? Or?
It can be. It does affect the premium, especially if you're in a protection class 10, which you're not going to find very many protection class 10s unless you're buying in like Tenasket or somewhere very far away from here. It would have to be like a secondary cabin type of house.
Well, listen, we got to get him back. There's so much more we want to talk about, and there's so much to know. Really appreciate you taking time out of your day to come by.
Thanks, guys, for having me. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Okay, so one last thing, but right before we go to a break, I want to give a special shout out to Tyler at Path Insurance Solutions, where he does the shopping for you, so you don't have to. It's your path to better coverage at a better price. So he's just one phone call or email away. You can reach Tyler at 425-289-3447, or you can find all of his contact information on our website.
You're listening to Seattle Real Estate Radio with your hosts, Christian Nossum and Dan Keller. We'll be right back. We're back with Seattle Real Estate Radio with your hosts, Christian Nossum and Dan Keller.
All right, you are listening to Seattle Real Estate Radio on KKOL 1300. It's business radio. Christian,
yes.
What did you take away from that? Holy cow.
That was a lot of info.
That was.
Tyler kind of knows what he's talking about.
He knows what he's talking about. Yeah. And you know what? He makes me want to go look at all my policies.
I know.
But I don't want to do that, so I'm just going to call him after. Dude, am I covered?
Yeah, I'm going to have to get him to review all my stuff because I got investment properties, my house, which we just moved over the summer, so, and then cars and all that fun stuff.
Well, and one of my clients she works with real estate investors, and she's an investor herself, and I know he just worked out a really big policy for her where she's covering all of her rental homes, and she has multiple, 10 plus. So, I know he's just a phenomenal resource. So I'm glad we had him on. We got to get him back.
Yeah. What were your biggest takeaways from that?
My biggest thing was kind of that replacement coverage. I was always under the assumption that if something happens to my house, it's okay. We file a claim and it gets rebuilt, and our custom floors and hand-scraped hardwoods and Sub-Zero appliances get replaced.
Yeah. And special countertops and all that stuff.
That may not be the case.
Yeah, you might have to make sure.
Well, I know wood's gone up.
Yeah. Well, yeah. All the forest fires and stuff like that. And
that's a fact.
Yeah.
So, I think that was the big thing for me. I think, the other thing is we don't live right off of a main road. We actually, where we live, we actually have septic. And so understanding that.
So why don't you tell people where you're at? So
we actually do. We live, we've got some acreage up north. We live in Lake Stevens, Washington. I commute to Kirkland every day.
Yeah.
Have for the past 3 years and love it. I read a lot of audiobooks. I listen to a lot of audiobooks.
I was about to say you read?
No. I listen. Well, it's equivalent. I tell people I spent 6 years. I've got a master's degree. I spent 6 years in college, and I've learned more since I graduated. I've read more books and learned more just by my commutes. So
exactly.
I'm blessed to have an hour-and-a-half commute to work every day.
Yeah. No, it's true. And that's the way to look at it rather than being mad about it and stuff like that. Yeah.
It's all good.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Yeah.
So you were saying that you guys aren't near a major road or anything
we're 100 yards, 150 yards off the road. We have septic, we have well, and hot tub, all that good stuff. And so, those types of coverages are important. Especially pond, when you're dealing with water. Water causes chaos. Yep. You know that in real estate.
Yeah.
Water does no good.
No.
Not in the attic, not in the crawl space, nowhere.
And that's water's probably some of the biggest reasons why I tell people not to buy houses all the time. We'll be walking through and we'll go down in the basement and you see all that white kind of powdery substance on the foundation wall. That's white efflorescence. That's telling you that water's gotten through, and that's the salt that's leaked through the concrete foundation wall. Wow. And that's just a remnant of it. So that's telling you water's been in this basement. If there's lots and lots of kind of rings like a tree, then you're knowing that's happening a lot. It's not just a one-time deal. So water's not good.
No. Hey, so what were your takeaways? What'd you grab from that?
Well, my biggest one was that I just need to talk with him.
Yeah.
And that's, I'm not saying that to sell him or anything. I'm honestly needing to talk to him and to get everything, looked over and reviewed, because felt like an idiot listening to him. Yeah, you shouldn't have your coverage for your car at one place and your house at another. And guess what? This guy has that. So
we can advise you best.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So just make sure that everything's looking good and in the right place, and not, even though I think I got a pretty good deal on stuff. I have USAA and Allstate, and you think that they're good companies, but hey, maybe they're not. Maybe they're not the best for me.
I love Allstate's commercials, though.
That's are pretty funny. Yeah.
That's it. The mayhem, dude. Yeah. That's about it.
That was a great commercial.
I can watch their commercials. I'll laugh, but then I'll just call Tyler for my coverage.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how that'll work. That's kind of the whole idea around the show, Christian, is to have guests on that we either use or we recommend.
Trust them.
Yeah, we trust them.
Exactly.
We've used them, or we know of people that use them. But here's the thing. All of our guests go through a big vetting process. Yeah. And from a credibility standpoint, it's there. So our goal is that, you might take a nugget away from this and maybe give Tyler a call. And if it's a good fit, leverage his advice.
What's his contact info?
I want to give it again. Yeah, because, he was such a
good resource.
Great resource. So 425-289-3447 is his phone number. And this is really easy. You can remember this. His email is Tyler, Tyler, at pathins.com. So Tyler at
I'm guessing pathins.com is also the website.
Mm-hmm. pathins.com. So certainly check him out. Maybe give him a ring. But super valuable stuff. So anything else you grab from that?
Other than feeling like a loser for doing it wrong. No,
Okay.
that's about it.
Good.
And now I know I need to have a talk with all my clients too, make sure that they're getting set up correctly, and yeah, feeling like a loser. So Dan, you were down in California, down in Palm Desert, and tell me a little bit more about how that went and any takeaways you got from that.
My biggest takeaway is I almost didn't come back. It's so beautiful down there.
Yeah,
if you love golf and sun.
Which you don't really love golf.
I do it. Down there I do.
Yeah.
Down there I do.
That's
Those
true.
fairways
Yeah.
will improve your drive by about 100 yards.
Yeah.
But, hey, as far as big takeaways, I think the biggest thing is just how business is being done today. There's a shift right now going on. I think I certainly see it in my business, and I know you do too.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody's focusing on tech. And everybody's focusing on ease and how quickly can we get our insurance policy? How quickly can I get a home search and go out and see homes? And I just think people think they can just click and go. And I think there's a paradigm shift happening right now where people are they enjoy that convenience, but at the end of the day, the decision's being made with somebody that they trust. They really want that level of service, and so. I shared the stage with people that are way more successcul than I am in regards to funded units and funded volume.
And you're one of the top in the Northwest.
And I humbly say that, but that puts it in perspective.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sitting
That's
up here
insane.
having conversations with people and how they're going about better advising and taking the focus off of just rate. We all draw our money from the same pool. So, one bank is not going to be substantially lower than the other. And I've said this for years, Christian. In the mortgage industry and in most industries, you can pay for service or you can pay for a deal, but you can't get both. You got one or the other.
Yep.
And, that's one of the reasons why I'm aligned at New American Funding is very competitive. I mean, you used me personally and you bank at Chase, and they're very competitive on price and rate, and we were right there.
Yep.
But you got me as the advisor, as the expert.
Exactly, and that's well worth it.
Yeah.
I mean, the amount of time that you took to make sure that we were taken care of is well worth it. Yeah. I know that going with a BECU or a Chase or whatever, they're not necessarily going to care.
Yeah.
I mean, because they don't know me.
Great institutions, but when it comes down to making the largest financial decision, one of them, of your lives, it's important to work with a pro. So I think there was a lot of focus on that, really, and then enhancing that experience. The technology that I use to share my loan programs, you see it. I use video.
About it because it's so cool.
It's so simple. It stacks programs next to each other. It gives a 5-year total cost of the loan, a 15-year total cost of the loan. We're not talking about just, hey, what do I owe after 5 years? The total cost of that loan over 5 years, 15, and then 30. So you can make a more educated decision.
Well, and that's part of the reason why, and I feel like I don't know. I don't like bragging about myself or you a lot, but I do really honestly feel that you do a great job in that regard. I mean, and that's why I recommend you all the time, because our clients are extremely educated. And it's because of the technology that you found, that you master, and that you use, that helps them make that educated decision, so they know what they're doing.
It's important. It's important to me. It's important to you as the real estate professional that's entrusted me with your clients. So,
well, and I think to piggyback off what you said, one of your big takeaways down there at that Sales Mastery conference you spoke at is, I think in general, every business right now went to the all online, instant, this is what I need, this is what I want. And it's not, I think people are into it, but I think they're also looking for that more, I don't know, guidance. They want that hand-holding.
Yep, they want the guidance.
So tune in next Monday at 3 to chat with Real Estate with us. Thank you so much for tuning in to our second show, Seattle Real Estate Radio on KKOL 1300.
To contact the show or for more information, visit SeattleRealEstateRadio.com. That's SeattleRealEstateRadio.com. And be sure to tune in again next Monday at 3 for more Seattle Real Estate Radio with your hosts, Christian Nossum and Dan Keller. right here on Business Radio 1300 KKOL.